info4patient.
1%, and then you are a beginner.
Yes, sir.
You give that statistical risk. So I think you have to be honest with that patient, that you tell them that. But I think everybody should make an effort not to have these complications.
In the different departments have different protocols. Some do from the post-auricle approach, others do the end-auric. So what you suggest for beginners who are starting the mastoid surgery, they start post-auricle or end-auricle? We know that both approaches had different indications.
Yes.
So which one is safe for beginners?
I think one message is that you should learn both.
Right.
But which patient should have an end-oral approach and which patient should have a post-oral approach depend on your training and your trainer and your mentor, as well as the indication. I think there is an emphasis now that one should have small cavities.
Right.
Either primarily you should do a mastectomy with a small cavity, or we should obliterate cavity in a way that it's not a big cavity which is a discharging cavity. For beginners point of view, I think a safer approach is a post-oral approach, because it gives you a good exposure. You can expose the mastoid. You can do almost everything with the post-oral approach.
Right.
However, in certain situations, end-oral is difficult approach to learn. I've taught you guys, but that's not something which is taught everywhere. But in certain situations, like if you're dealing with an atticulacytoma, it's a sclerotic mastoid, and if you want to approach from anterior to posterior approach, then end-oral is the approach of choice. Therefore, this is why I said diagnosis of glaciotoma is not enough. You need to know the extent of the disease. You need to know the pneumatization of the mastoid. You need to know the exact nature of ossicles, involvement, any involvement of the tegment. So all these put together, I use all that information to decide before surgery whether I'm going to use end-oral or post-oral, anterior to posterior or posterior to anterior.
Right.
And this is where I think we should learn both, because every patient would require a different approach.
Right.
But if you ask me which one is the easier, I think one should start with post-oral.
Right. Because in the post-auricle approach, if initially you are doing the cortical mastectomy, you may identify the lateral canal.
Yes.
And that is very important landmark to proceed further.
Because in post-oral, your angle is different.
Yes.
So if you're doing mastectomy with an end-oral,
Yeah.
I think as a beginner you may struggle with those things.
Right.
Because to maintain the air canal and do mastectomy, in the experienced hands you can do that. But post-oral, I think, is something where one should familiarize with all the structures and the landmarks.
Sir, my next question is regarding the facial nerve. This is the single most important fear to the operating surgeon. So what is your advice how we must identify the facial nerve? Either